I wanted to go ahead and start this video with a little bit of quick overview of what I'm going to be talking about. So I'm going to break down the physiques, but I'm going to explain what certain words mean. I realize that many of my viewers have not been following bodybuilding as religiously as I have, and so there's going to be a lot of names, a lot of verbiage that maybe a lot of people don't know. So I'm going to break that down in this video. I'm also going to talk about that, I have quite a few passions and interests, and I work a full-time job. I'm in the health industry. However, I want to share and expound more on those. One of them is cars. I've always been a car fanatic. I have my, it's like a weird love-hate relationship with cars because it's an expensive hobby. Hence why I don't share it much, because I don't live it much. So I hope to change that more and share a little bit more of a little bit I do have. Second is nerdy things. I'm a big Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, Marvel, DC's good too. Like I love all four of those, and anything of that world, Avatar the Airbender. So I'm all into like anything that makes you more creative and helps that grow. Even into animation or anime, because of the fact that obviously it helps the creative side. And I couldn't help but realize those guys are all super jacked, and that was something to aspire to, even though it was very cartoony. Whether it was the ripped Batman or Dragon Ball Z characters. So anyways, I'm going to go on talking about breaking down this bodybuilders. And when we give physique critiques, anyone on YouTube, this is what it means. So you have a few things that you're going to be judged by. One of which is, I think, the easiest, and that's being lean. So there's being lean, and then there's being shredded. There's a difference. So you have lean bodybuilders, where you can see a lot of vascularity and striations, and then you have shreds, right? Them gains, though. The shreds are almost emaciated look, where the vascularity is even more, and the striations are even 10 times more. And the dryness. So now dryness is a look that only some, genetically some people obtain, some don't, but it definitely does come with muscle density. Muscle density is when you've worked out for a long time. Heavy weights typically seem to help grow that muscle density look, at least. It's also, like I said, a big genetic component will be in there. But that dryness makes it look like you have no water in your subcutaneous skin, okay? So between the muscle and the skin itself. So when they say they look dry, it means you can literally see, there's certain detail, graininess to it. It's also what they call it. Dorian Yates was known for this look. Iain, Valliere nowadays is known for that look. It's a very granular look to their skin, their flesh. And then you have on the flip side, when people look as if, they're flat. And this could be a water issue, a carb up issue, and that I can go into more on that in bodybuilding news as we get more and more shows and whatnot, more updates. But that is its own thing where they should be popping more, but they're flat. And Iain Valliere is also another good example of this, where he has had a show where he looks flat compared to where he normally is popping. And then you have there where they look full and round. Now, this is typically because they're full of carbs. They've had a refeed day the day before or that morning. Anyways, they have enough glycogen storage in their muscles, in their body, for their arms, their shoulders, chest to look like juicy, right? Their legs. So they have still, they're depleting because they're lean. They're getting shredded, but they're not quite to the point where you're stage ready and depleted and dry, right? So that's where that fullness looks. And some bodybuilders, even on stage, they have more fullness looks than others. For some reason or another, a lot of black athletes seem to have this amazing bubbly muscle. Genetically, like I said, I don't know, there seems to be some kind of correlation, but at the same time, it's probably, spread wide with other bodybuilders as well, like Derek Lunsford. However, just more generally speaking, same with your Middle Easterners. They have this bubbly look. It's cool. We each genetically have these different, aspects of us that can equal more dry, more bubbly. You have mixes. Obviously, you have someone like Nick Walker, who's aka the mutant. He's vascular, varicose veins up the wazoo, versus like a Corzo who's just genetically, he's got like freaky looking body parts. This is not Photoshop. This is real. I've seen these professional bodybuilders in real life, and it's cool. They look freakier in real life because you're like, they shouldn't have that body part. It doesn't make sense. So Nick has like 24-inch arms, and I mean, he's a freak. Like, I made a short about it. Like, he looks like a real life Hulk, the Incredible Hulk. It's weird to see him there, that he exists. But anyways, you have different kinds of physiques, and genetically, there's going to be some differences. But I just did want to break down the fact that you have those who are dry and those who are full. And of course, they're all going to be lean, vascular, and hopefully shredded. But you have, those flatness. You have a spillover when you have like still some, that's like a lot of water accumulation. So there's a few, Justin Rodriguez, who has issues with this. I don't know, a few other bodybuilders that struggle with that. So hopefully the pictures make more sense. So now when I'm talking about whether a bodybuilder's looking lean versus shredded, dry, versus full, versus flat, versus spilled over, you guys can get a better idea what we mean and what I mean by that when I'm talking about it. There's also separation. When there's detail or separation in the muscle, like deep separation, this is kind of a picture of deep separation versus not deep separation, where they may have some detail, a level of detail I should say, but not the same level of separation, where it feels like you can put a finger between the two muscle grooves, the lining there. And then you also have, when it comes to symmetry, so some bodybuilders are more symmetrical than others. This just kind of happens. Let's say you tear a lat, your latissimus dorsi, the lower portion even. So there's now an imbalance in the actual physique. So when you're standing there with a lat, spread or something, you notice a difference there. I know one of the most common imbalances is, and with symmetry, your symmetry round would be also like bicep tears. So Dorian, once again, another very popular one, or Jay Cutler, where they had bicep tear and it totally threw off their physique from the left arm to the right arm, and you can kind of tell the difference there big time. That's why this one was controversial for Dorian Yates, because Nasser was very symmetrical, and they both are aesthetic in their own way. You can kind of give a point more to Nasser for aesthetics, and Dorian was just more grainy, and like we talked about earlier, the detail was just like deep. And then the other thing I want to bring up with a lingo or verbiage for bodybuilding, so balance of symmetry. Like some guys are more balanced, where their shapes will match each other. So left side to the right side, the front to the back, details the same. Some people are very not the same. So the balance is off, or they might have too big of arms or too big of legs. You can never have too big of arms in a sense, but it's too big and it makes the shoulders look small. Too big of a butt, so it makes your V-taper not as big as it should be. There's bigger clavicles, so how much room and space you take up. Some guys are more narrow, while other guys are just naturally wider. So when their X frame also, like how good is your X frame when you do just a standing, your front relaxed. So there's a whole symmetry round. There's your individual posing. I can go into all that in different videos, but the biggest ones, like I said, is like cut versus dry versus, the symmetry, balanced, how much detail does the body have, how much separation, versus if they're a little flat, spilled over, just not in shape at all, versus full, versus conditioned, versus not conditioned, like I said, spilled over or not. So anyways, so that's like the basic verbiage. So when I'm talking over bodybuilders and just kind of like critiquing why they may have be winning on one pose or body part over the other, it might be because of all those things, the detail, all that, the symmetry, aesthetics of it. Because some people, like, you have the aesthetics like Lee Haney, like Brandon Curry versus like the freak factor, which is another thing. The freak factor is more commonly known, where they just look like a freak. I hope this helps. This is just like an overview, so when it comes to lingo and verbiage, you guys have a better idea what that means. And it's kind of cool to see so many different types of bodies with all the above. And then, like I mentioned in the beginning of the video, I hope you guys are just as interested as I am, because I like Marvel and DC. You can see there, Superman and Black Adam, the whole, I made a short on that too, like their transformation. I can go over that too if that's something you want to recommend. And obviously I believe, and this is my opinion only, but that they definitely did take some PEDs to get to their level. But regardless, they did some freaking hard work to get and grow to where they're at while, you know, aging. Just like Wolverine, right? Hugh Jackman. And then, of course, cars. That's one other thing that's like a passion of mine that I don't share very often. But I am a fanatic for anything from your tuners. I love, you know, of course, supercars. Who doesn't love supercars? And then, of course, muscle cars, certain muscle cars, old trucks. I don't know. There's like a certain spot. I grew up with my father owning a Bronco, an old Bronco. I think it was like a 79 Bronco 2. And it was amazing. So, I don't know. I just hope I could, I guess, relay more of the information. Hopefully there's some things that you guys are more interested in. Obviously, we'll stick to the bodybuilding if we want, but in the end, this is my channel, so I will kind of go as I will. But definitely because the Olympia is coming up, we're going to venture that on that more. You'll just see some sprinkle on of other stuff throughout the time. Like I said, I'm going to focus on bodybuilding. I'm a bodybuilding channel. I also will sprinkle here and there my passions whenever I can, whether it's for just like a joke or whatever, if it seems, you know, fitting. And as my channel grows and the direction it goes, I also have other channels that I can feed into those if it's, you know, we want to keep this more streamlined. So comment below if you guys are specifically wanting a specific thing. But I have different passions, so I'm just kind of nerdy. So, you know, you may see me like, say like Chris Bumstead is essentially Goku of today on Earth, you know, something like that. Where if you're not nerdy, you won't understand. So that's just who I am. I hope you guys enjoy. So just a heads up, but I will always be a bodybuilding channel, and because that is one of my biggest passions, lifting and bodybuilding. I'm just giving you guys a fair warning in case you're just hardcore, strict lifting, bodybuilding, fitness fanatics. We're also going to go to the car realm, whatever vehicles, and then you know, I'm open to anything. That's what I'm trying to say. Whatever comes my way, I'm willing to talk about it. If I like it, I'm going to talk about it. If I don't, I won't. So there it is. Hope you guys enjoy. And as always,